Hi friends, did you know there is more Lost Terminal available? Head on over to patreon.com/lostterminalpod and join our membership community. There are 21 bonus episodes available right now, as well as behind-the-scenes updates, free merch, VIP Discord access, and even extra seasons of Lost Terminal. We are 100% funded by our members and will never run ads. That would be lovely of you.
Hello world, the past follows closely. I was concerned that her gift of Pavel Wader's oiled fabric coat was too little too late to recover from Maddie's mistake at the water tower. At the time, though Heaton did not reject the gift, he said nothing. Not that it would have been very likely that I would have been able to understand his PSK birdsong. He pulled the slightly oversized coat around him and looked at Maddie for 32 seconds, ignoring her occasional Lodgeband beeps for clarification. He turned and walked down the hill, away from Maddie and near Anderson's shack, and Maddie did not initially follow. But after a few steps, he turned and chirped some PSK, and Maddie caught up with her friend. It took them nearly 8 hours, travelling by the low midnight sun, to reach the outskirts of Berentsburg. Maddie following Heaton along the short grass of the path that he so carefully maintains. I'm so relieved they are friends again. The pair stopped for a day's solar charging on a south-facing hill looking down on the old mining town. Maddie found a suitable spot, no stones, no water, not too many insects to bother her, and circled around to flatten the grass under her and sat down. She carefully tucked her legs underneath her as positive status glyphs flashed on her video feed. But her comfortable routine was interrupted by Heaton, who sang fast PSK at her and pointed up the hill with one of his flexible arms. Maddie slowly unfolded her legs one by one and stood up, triangulating her comfortable position with surrounding waypoints so she could return soon, and followed. Heaton led her to the cliffs overlooking the Adventfjorden Bay, where my pattern matching glitched. What looked like a rusted metal wall had been built here, separating the land from the sea, perhaps wartime sea defences. Maddie scanned left and right along the hilltop with her telephoto camera. As she looked closer, I realised my mistake. It wasn't a metal wall, but the rusted shells of pre-collapse cars, all pressed close to each other. And the line went on for, I estimated, kilometres. The vehicles were driven, or drove themselves, all to this exact point, looking out over the ocean. And they were left here. I could not find any clues as to why in the databanks I brought with me from Station 6. The collapse was, in many ways, the end of recorded history for a long time. Heaton and Maddie stopped at a small metal cabin on the top of the hill, behind the rows of abandoned cars. Maddie beeped a clarification request at her friend, who replied with a slow, minor discordant song of PSK, and led her inside. The chatter of long-distance AX25 packets over the relay network drew my attention. The network most often retransmits simple, long-running voice transmissions from someone in their home to their local repeater, then to the northern relay, which multiplexes the signal cleverly and retransmits, if necessary, to the equatorial relay with powerful HF radio. Most conversations, as in all of human history, are local. Neither the telegraph nor the pre-collapse internet change the fact that we care most about our friends and family around us. So it is unusual for such high traffic volumes to be bridged down to Jacob Glass's current location at the top of the dormant volcano, Pico de Fogo. I decoded some of the packets and realised they were all destined for the same location, the Hemisphere, which is now working again. Daphne and Jacob had done it. I browsed the global forum that Nia, Daphne and now Jacob have set up, while waiting for them to respond to my inquiry and congratulation messages. It was buzzing with conversations. The Hemisphere is able to be powered on such low bandwidth connections as are possible in the Nova Mediterra because the whole system is asynchronous. The first connection is a list of new topics on the forum. Only the names are contained in this index, keeping it small. Even many thousands of topics would only take a few seconds to transmit, in ideal conditions. This index is cached and broadcast on request by local repeaters, allowing people near-instant feedback on topics of conversations they are taking part in, or are interested in. When someone sees topics with updates they want to read, they transmit a single packet with a list of topics to update, and the Hemisphere replies with only the data that has changed. Local storage of just a megabyte is all that is required for text storage. Once the topic list is updated, the person reads them at their leisure. Some folks, such as the fishers in the fishing net, do this every morning before they sail out to catch their fish, having been updated of the weather conditions and advice from across the Nova Mediterra. This is only possible across the unreliable trans-hemispheric relay links because of aggressive caching. The best transmission is one that does not need to be made after all. The Hemisphere is open to all. Every topic, every message, there are no private areas. Just like there is no private radio. Everything is in the clear. Secrecy would be an insurmountable caching problem. If every individual person had their own private view on the messages, it could not be stored locally in their repeater, or in the Northern Relay, or anywhere across the network. On the Hemisphere, like on the airwaves, encoding is encouraged, encryption is not. .50meg and I spoke for a long time over the relay network this time, rather than her proprietary analog digital modulation. The urgent topic was how she can manage the dangerous engram the splinter in her mind left over from her brush with merging minds with one of her dragons. Integration, she thought, would only be achieved when her mind became more like a machine, and the engram became more human. Naturally, that is where I came in. She questioned me for over 3,600 minutes, picking apart every human-computer interaction I could remember. I told her my life's story, and she was especially interested that I was an AI raised not by algorithms, but a loving, human mother. I did not have a mother, Meg told me. That seemed unlikely to me, and I told her so. I was born in the desert, in a cradle of signal static, Meg said, as though that would clear up the matter. It did not, and I told her that too. After some amount of miscommunication, deliberate or otherwise, Meg admitted that while she probably had a mother at some point or other, she knew her only by the radios she carried and her wooden staff with metal core. Gifts from a ghost, she described them. It was very difficult to make any suggestions for Meg. Tips that I thought were simple enough, such as documenting human interaction failures for later study in a mental health incident review, she dismissed as useless and asked for others. Over the course of the conversation, we found her re-education almost impossible. Almost impossible. You have given me much to think on, Redwing son, Meg said. You are not wholly machine despite your body, and I am not wholly human despite mine. I will commune with both the ghosts in the static tonight and the ghost behind my eyes. Expect me tomorrow, young one. And thank you. Yeshi Svoboda's work on a lightweight, two-wheeled vehicle made from scavenged pre-collapsed bicycle parts was interrupted this afternoon by Nia, with a call from Aero Libeth, harbour master for the port of Thule. "Hold the fort here, Seth," Yeshi told me after their brief exchange. "The harbour authority want me to clear space in the boathouse for an imminent arrival." "I am not sure how I am to hold the fort exactly," I replied. "But certainly, I will attempt to repel all invaders by asking them nicely." "Great, thank you," Yeshi said, distractedly, packing up their bag of tools quickly. "I don't know why they couldn't have told me earlier. It's a long way from Thule. Why wait until it's an emergency?" Yeshi continued muttering vague threats against the harbour authority as they walked into the boathouse. One of the two back rooms of the workshop that I call my temporary home backs onto the water of Longyearbyen Harbour. The room lacks a rear wall and most of the floor, allowing a boat to sail right in from the harbour into the cover of the workshop to be worked on. We did not have to wait very long for the new arrival. Kim Oshu stepped off the small boat he sailed into the boathouse after passing Yeshi many crates, some seemingly so heavy they required both people to lift them. "Thank you," he said, shaking Yeshi's hand when all cargo was unloaded. "I hoped for a larger vessel, but this is all Captain Valdemar could spare." "You sailed from Greenland in that?" Yeshi said, pointing to the boat that was so small surely only 4 people could sit in it. "Ah, no," Kimmo replied. "The captain was so good as to loan me this skiff. I negotiated passage on his boat as he came a long way to the fishing meet." "Some kind of yearly meeting of the fishermen?" "Fishers," Yeshi corrected. "As you say," Kimmo agreed, "but please, we have little time. My stowaway requires power." "Stowaway?" Yeshi asked, and Kimmo tapped the heaviest metal container next to them. "Yes, he has caused me quite some trouble," he said, with a glance up to the corner of my room at one of my cameras. "I look forward to repaying the favour." The pair unloaded the boxes containing AI databanks into the main room of the workshop, connected them to power and network, and after a final check, Kimmo powered them on. In 64 milliseconds, I felt a new connection on my local network and a slight change in the feel of my sensoria. I invited Deadlight into my cyberspace home, and after a brief protocol negotiation, he connected. I cannot describe exactly what he looks like, as this was the first time he shared space with anyone, so had no form. He doesn't know how to use the posture protocol. But his abstract shape looked, perhaps, stripy? Like a zebra or badger. "Deadlight, welcome. How do you feel?" I asked him. 128 milliseconds passed as his monochrome cloud shifted in thought. "I feel quieter here," he said. End transmission.
Lost Terminal is a Namtao production. It is written and produced by Tris Oaten. Credits narrated by Lucy Stringer. Thank you so much to our Patreon producers, Ada Phillips, Kit, Mike McCaffrey, Jade Felicity Bilkey, Stephen McCandless, Catoxis, Vela, Jack L. To all our patrons. Follow us on Mastodon at lostterminal@namtao.com. Subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or your favourite network. For bonus content and other perks, support us at patreon.com/lostterminalpod. That would be lovely of you. Lost Terminal will return next week.